21. Altogether, the organization stole 81 firearms and 10 replica firearms. Unfortunately, only 6 firearms have been recovered at this point. So while I'm here today to announce indictments, we're standing before you with a critical request to the community for help from the community to please speak up if you know anything about these crimes. The men and women of our area law enforcement agencies are working to recover all of the stolen guns, dozens of them, to remove them from our streets. In this crime spree, stores operated by hardworking business owners were ransacked and destroyed, losing over $50,000 in inventory. Of the 81 stolen firearms, we know that some were sold to other minors. We also know that others, suspected of crimes, found out that the group had stolen these firearms and robbed them on multiple occasions. These stolen guns have passed hands, the hands of children and others who are not allowed to possess them. This is unacceptable. Of the 6 firearms that were recovered, all were recovered from the hands of minors and other people who are prohibited from possessing firearms. It's when these guns fall into the hands of those who are banned from possessing them, that's what creates the greatest danger in our community. We must put a stop to this and get these guns off our streets. Those who steal, those who unlawfully possess, and those who illegally sell these deadly weapons need to be held accountable. These indictments send a clear message to anyone who engages in the illegal transfer of firearms that you will be found and you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Since I took office 18 months ago, now 19 months ago, my organized crime unit has participated in numerous investigations with our law enforcement partners that have resulted in the seizure or recovery of more than 200 illegally possessed firearms. These investigations are not easy. They take time and dedication, often putting the men and women in uniform at risk. This investigation that we're talking about today was led by my organized crime unit in the Office of the Attorney General and included the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, or ATF, the Anne Arundel County Police Department, the Prince George's County Police Department, and the Baltimore County Police Department. None of this would have been possible without your partnership and commitment to public safety and to solving these crimes. The detectives, police officers, and my criminal division attorneys work together to bring these individuals to justice. I sincerely thank you for your strong work ethic and diligence. Now, I would like to turn things over to, and as I do, I'd want to thank Katie Dorian, Chief of my criminal division, for her leadership. I want to turn this over to Katie for more facts about this case. Katie?
Good afternoon. As the Attorney General said, these cases are the latest effort by our Criminal Division's Organized Crime Unit to combat the illegal possession of handguns throughout Maryland. Before I get into the facts of the case, I just want to emphasize that all of the defendants are presumed innocent unless and until we prove their guilt beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. An indictment is not a finding of guilt, but merely an accusation. These arrests and charges culminated from an investigation of a trend of commercial robberies federal firearms licensees in Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, and Prince George's County. In total, 4 individuals have been charged with the commission of 3 commercial burglaries, 7 attempted burglaries, and the illegal possession of those stolen firearms. In all, approximately 81 firearms and 10 replica firearms were stolen. Over $50,000 worth of inventory was stolen from these licensees, and thousands of dollars in damage was done to their facilities. Only 6 firearms have been recovered by police at this time, meaning 75 firearms are still illegally out in our communities. The firearms that have been recovered from juveniles or prohibited individuals. The organization began its crimes on Christmas Eve, 2023. The group would operate in the late night and into the early morning hours and use a crowbar to pry open the door or a circular saw to destroy the locking mechanisms of the door to attempt to break into the federal firearms licensee stores. On that first occasion, the group successfully broke into a gun store in Prince George's County and stole 35 firearms. In the early morning of Christmas Day, December 25th, 2023, the same group attempted to break into 4 separate gun shops in Arundel County and Baltimore County, but were unsuccessful. The following day, a member of the group accidentally discharged a firearm in public. On December 29th, 2023, the group committed 2 burglaries at gun shops in Prince George's County, stealing 46 firearms and 10 replica firearms. 4 days later, a member of the group accidentally discharged a firearm which struck an associate in both feet, requiring that associate to be hospitalized. Finally, on March 4th, 2024, the group attempted to commit a burglary at a gun shop in Prince George's County. This was the same gun shop that they had successfully broken into in December, and some updates to the storage and security of the building prevented the burglary from being successful this time. During the investigation, investigators located several instances of the group attempting to sell or trade the stolen firearms using social media and waving around firearms on their own social media. Additionally, on at least 2 occasions, the group was robbed of the firearms they stole from the gun shops by rival organizations. One of those times, one of the juvenile defendants shot their gun, but the other juvenile defendant, who also had a loaded gun, did not shoot their gun. The other members of the organization were mad at the second juvenile for not using deadly force to defend their organization. The defendants include Kaiwan Hemsley, a 19-year-old male from District Heights, who is charged with 200 counts. Micaiah McQuinn Woodley, a 20-year-old female from Baltimore, who is charged with 189 counts. A 17-year-old male from Temple Hills, who is charged with 199 counts, and a 16-year-old male from Upper Marlboro, who is charged with 205 counts. All of the defendants are charged with participating in a criminal organization and related conspiracy charges. So if you have the indictment, counts 1 through 6 are identical for each defendant. Then each defendant has a variety of substantive charges corresponding to their particular role. All of the individuals involved in this case are under 21 years old and prohibited from possessing firearms. The defendants are all charged in the Circuit Court for Anne Arundel County as adults, and they are all being held without bail. As the Attorney General emphasized, these investigations would not have been possible without the collaboration and partnership between the Attorney General's office and our hardworking federal and state and local partners. In case after case, we show that when we work together and combine our resources, we can make a significant impact on public safety. I will now turn it over to our wonderful partner, Special Agent in charge of the Baltimore Field Division of ATF, Tony Crosby.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Maryland Attorney General Brown, Anne Arundel County Police Department, Prince George's County Police Department, Baltimore County Police Department, and the various prosecutors that have aided in this investigation. We're here today to announce the charges of 4 defendants for burglarizing or attempting to burglarize at least 10 federal firearms licensees, also known as gun shops or stores, in the Washington-Baltimore metropolitan area over a 4-month span earlier this year. As you know, ATF is on the front line in the fight against violent crime, particularly firearms trafficking, such as theft and gun-related violence. Federal firearms licensee thefts result in firearms trafficking because firearms are stolen. When the firearms exit illegal commerce and enter the illegal market, they most likely are then in the possession of people that cannot legally possess firearms and often are used to commit violent crimes. ATF is committed to preventing and investigating firearm thefts because these thefts of stolen firearms often end up being trafficked and endangers our communities. This case is no exception. Law enforcement has already recovered some of the stolen firearms, which have ended up in the hands of the wrong people, hands of prohibited persons, hands of juveniles, and hands of those that have no issue with using them in crimes such as shootings that threaten the safety of our communities, like this stolen firearm involved in this case that was recovered. ATF is also responsible for the partnership among federal firearms licensees and law enforcement, ensuring that federal firearms licensees are compliant in the safekeeping of their inventory. This relationship is vital to investigate these burglaries and hold those accountable, as we have done in this case. We are thankful for the cooperation of the victims of these burglaries. ATF will continue to work closely with our law enforcement and prosecutorial partners to hold those accountable for the burglaries of these federal firearms licensees. This investigation will be ongoing until all efforts are made to recover each and every stolen firearm involved in this investigation. Thank you, Attorney General Brown, for your relentless commitment to ensuring these cases are prosecuted to the full extent of the law in order to keep our community safe from gun violence. I will now turn it over to Anne Arundel County Police Chief Amal Awad.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to Special Agent in Charge, Tony Crosby. My name is Amal Awad. I serve as Chief of Police for the Anne Arundel County Police Department. You just heard the announcement of indictments of 4 individuals for their role in a string of burglaries and attempted burglaries at federally licensed firearms stores throughout the region, specifically in Anne Arundel County, Prince George's County, and Baltimore County. These are not victimless crimes. The 5 stores affected in Anne Arundel County were located in Glen Burnie, Pasadena, and Hanover. These incidents took place on Christmas Day last year. While these law-abiding federally licensed retailers and small business owners were home preparing to celebrate the holiday with their families, these suspects were damaging their businesses and attempting to gain access in an attempt to steal firearms. They weren't just damaging their businesses, they were damaging and impacting their livelihoods. And aside from the personal impact of these crimes, there's an immediate threat to our community. While they were unable to steal the weapons from stores in Anne Arundel County, they did manage to steal a significant amount of firearms from other businesses within our region. These weapons were sold and traded on the street to individuals prohibited from possessing and carrying firearms, creating an increased danger for our community members. And many of these weapons still remain, as you've heard, on the streets. Today's announcement is the result of tenacious follow-up investigations and information shared by our agency and amongst our law enforcement partners. Today, we're here to send a strong message to any criminal law violators related to firearms, theft, trading, etc. We will not stop. We will follow up. We will investigate, and we will hold you accountable. I want to thank our federal, state, and local partners, particularly all the individuals who report directly to the Attorney General and him as well. From the Organized Crime Unit of the Maryland Office of the Attorney General, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, or ATF, the Prince George's County Police Department, and the Baltimore County Police Department for your collaboration and assistance in this investigation. I want to personally thank our officers and detectives whose diligence to gather evidence, follow up on leads, and coordinate with our regional partners also helped to identify and locate these individuals. Your collective efforts help dismantle this criminal organization. Lastly, I thank our state's attorney, Ann Colt-Litis, for her assistance as we move forward with this investigation. And although we've announced these individuals believed to have been responsible for these crimes, we ask anyone with additional information on any of these incidents or suspects, or if you have knowledge of firearms related to this incident or where they are, please contact the Anne Arundel County Police Department's anonymous tip line at 410-222-4700. Thank you, and I will turn the podium over to Deputy Chief from Prince George's County, Zachary Oair.
Good afternoon. Deputy Chief Zachary Oair, Prince George's County Police. I oversee the Bureau of Investigation. I just wanted to start out by saying this unified effort between the Attorney General's Office, the ATF, and our partner law enforcement agency reinforces our commitment to stopping gun crimes in our state. It's our collective priority to keep all those who work, live, and play here in Maryland safe. I thank each of the agencies involved in this tremendous effort, and I look forward to the collaboration that proceeds. And then also, we would also like to offer our tip line at Prince George's County at 1-866-411-TIPS. Thank you.
Okay. Questions?
So I see Mr. Hemsley's charged in the district federal charges as well, was arrested quite some time ago with a whole bunch of other folks. How big an organization, you charged 4 here, how big an organization are we talking about if you take into account everything that's charged in the district?
Sure. Good afternoon. Paul Halliday, Halliday. I'm the chief of the organized crime unit. So as far as the individual's involvement in other crimes in the District of Columbia, there is some reference in the indictment to there being some group violence between 2 different groups, a rival group, things like that. Our indictments deal exclusively with the thefts in Prince George's and in Arundel County and what the group was doing there. But I think there's no doubt that these thefts and the guns that were taken from them were helping to fuel those additional crimes that were occurring in the district and elsewhere. Because that's where the guns were going, and that's where the guns were being found. In fact, the indictment lays out that some of them were found during investigations of other cases.
Can anybody describe a narrative on some of the crimes that were committed with the 6 guns that you recovered?
They're provided in. So we can only speak to the cases that we're handling and the information that's in the public record. There is the problem is, unfortunately, I think almost all of those cases involved juveniles. So to the extent that we can't speak about juvenile cases and juvenile records, that's what it is. They're in the hands of juveniles. Some of that information is in the indictment, which I think is available and will be distributed to everyone else. The only other gun that was recovered was actually sold at a pawn shop in Maryland by a prohibited person. So in that sense, every single one of the guns that's been recovered so far has been from a prohibited person.
I don't think you're violating confidentiality.
Yeah.
Just describe the crimes that were committed with the guns.
I think
Are they carjackings? Or what happened?
to the extent that I remember, I think 2 of the guns were recovered from individuals that were in a stolen vehicle at the time. So I think that's the extent of what I know at this point.
Would you discuss how they got caught? Does social media seal their fate?
So most of it is based on the surveillance of the businesses, and then a number of different pieces of evidence, a lot of social media records, a lot of sort of historical phone information that was used to identify the individuals and confirm their involvement. But social media was a huge part of it.
When were the 4 suspects arrested?
Okay. 2 of them were actually arrested prior to being indicted, and then one of them's also being held on an unrelated case, but it was a firearm-involved case, and they're being held in Prince George's County right now on a pending case. So they've all been, I can't remember the exact dates, but they've all been in now for a few months, since I think at least for a while now. We can get that information afterwards.
Attorney General, can we talk juveniles? Juvenile crime. Big topic of late. DJS has taken a lot of criticism. Do you think that you'll be able to hold these juveniles accountable properly under the law? I mean, they're going to have a waiver hearing, I assume.
Well, certainly in this case, we're going to be able to hold them accountable. Great investigative work being done, solid indictments as you can read for yourself. So, we're going to hold these juveniles accountable. You may be asking about the larger issue around juvenile. Look, the issue of how we treat and how we handle juveniles who are committing criminal offenses, I have no doubt it will be back on the table again in January. And we participate in that debate and that discussion. But for today, we're talking about 4 people under 21, 2 of whom are juveniles that we're going to hold accountable.
Ian, Daily Record.
Why are they being tried in Anne Arundel as opposed to another jurisdiction?
Sure. Yeah. So, like most of these cases that involve patterns and going cross boundaries, we have we're operating because they're an organization that was working together and committing all these crimes, rather than multiple charging documents in multiple jurisdictions, which can create all sorts of problems. The statute provides for the ability to join all of the offenses under a single indictment, and that's what was done in this case, and Anne Arundel was the venue that the cases are currently being prosecuted in. So.
I'm sorry, I don't follow, because, the guns that were stolen, I believe it said that they were stolen from locations in Prince George's. What was that about them joining under a single indictment, and why was that where they landed?
So under the statute, because they're charged with the criminal violations of of participating in a criminal organization in Maryland, all of the charges can be joined in a single charging document, and it can be in any venue in which one of the offenses occurred. So of course, these crimes affect the entire region and affect the District of Columbia, but because it occurred in multiple jurisdictions, one of them is where the case is being prosecuted, and that's here in Anne Arundel County.
Chris Cheon, WBAL. Were they emboldened when they were successful on Christmas Eve, and that kind of led to the 4 different stores on Christmas Day?
So it really is. It's kind of one offense. It's late in the night on Christmas Eve into early in the morning on Christmas Day. So I can't speak to why they kept going after being successful, but they did. And the broader question of, as you can see, there's 3 separate incidents where this all occurs, and a big reason for that, as you can see in the indictment, is that they're robbed themselves of the firearms in between incidents. So hopefully that answers that.
Where the gun was sold at a pawn shop, was that in one of the 3 county, like Baltimore, Anne Arundel, or PG?
That's a pending case in Charles County, actually. Yep.
So how much bigger could this be?
It's a good question. That's a great question for. Obviously, it impacts at least the 3 jurisdictions that we have: Charles County, and then I think most of the guns have been recovered from the District of Columbia at this point. So, 5 of the 6. 5 of the 6 were recovered from District of Columbia. Thank you.
I think one of the organizations is referenced in the rival organization as Hilltop or something. Did this organization have a name? Did they promote themselves as something?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it's just a group of individuals.
And if the 2 juveniles are being charged as adults, why are we not getting their names?
So there's a secrecy and protection of juvenile records, even when they're charged as an adult under the Maryland law. So, and that continues through no matter how the prosecution progresses.
And maybe just Attorney General Brown, we know guns are used in crimes and all that's bad, but for the person watching this, how does this affect my life? How do you explain the effort to try to get the 75 guns that are still out there? What could be done with them? How anybody could potentially be victimized by them?
First of all, the work that is being done to recover these 75 guns, it doesn't happen with law enforcement alone. This is a partnership with the community, and that's why I think a number of other speakers are asking the community if they know something, say something, report it to local law enforcement. Our law enforcement partners use a variety of techniques to find guns, trace guns, connect guns, and they'll continue to use those. So the message I would say to the community is if you know of any wrongdoing connected to this crime or not, to call local law enforcement because we're only as good as the information we get, and we rely heavily on that information from the community. I do want to say that this is part of a larger effort to make our community safe, right? It's the investigative work that's being done to hold those accountable who are breaking the law. I was very pleased that the Fourth Circuit upheld our ban on assault weapons. I was pleased that the Fourth Circuit upheld our regime for Marylanders to purchase a gun and the federal qualification license or the firearm qualification license. So this is just one of a number of things that we do. I'm pleased that the General Assembly gave the Office of the Attorney General authority to hold gun shops responsible if they are not taking the necessary steps to safeguard firearms and firearm-related, ammunition, paraphernalia, et cetera. So this is part of a larger mosaic that we're all involved in to ensure that our communities are as safe as they can be.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. The picture.
Yeah, I'll take you back to it. Thank you, everyone.
All right, sorry. Just a tad at the bottom. For photographers, would it help if I turn this light off?
I don't know if that'll work. Where, is anyone, Rich? Oh, Rich. Help me do this, sorry, my stuff's coming out. I can't imagine what it is, maybe it's down. Hey, Rich?
Yes?
Could you come here and help me, can you make this full screen again? Can you take me to the top?
Where's the?
Here it is, here it is. And this is over here.
Can you introduce yourself as the Director of Communications?
I did.
Okay, there you go.
And another
That's
reason,
part of
Rich works
communicating.
here, okay? I don't have license over Rich. How do I go by Rich? Oh, got it. So, going back to the full 87-page indictment, it's in the press release, which you all just got an email. There's a link, so you should be able to get all that stuff that we're talking about. Tell me if you need any of these, I'll go back to them. There you go.
That one.
That one, Jen. Hit it hard for me,
And which break-in is this? Can you say?
That I don't know. I'll have to go back and ask.
But the four that are named in
But
the
these are
indictment,
the
those four right there.
All right, let me ask. Okay, stand tight with me. I'll go get both points on
They're really recognizable. Yeah. All right, so.
Makai is on the left. Down in front, please.
You know what I like about seeing you, Bob? You don't know either.
There's nothing left on it.
Okay.
All right, this is from, this is a store that was hit successfully twice, 7900 block of Central Avenue in Prince George's County. They attempted but failed in March. In terms of the bodies that you see in these, the 4 bodies, those are the 4 defendants.
Okay.
Careful now, too.
So it got hit twice, but the first time was unsuccessful.
No, last time was unsuccessful. This is a store that, the
This is the
first
first
one,
one.
Christmas Eve, they got 35 guns. And then they hit it again, they got 46 guns. So like of the 81 plus 10, the bulk come from hitting that store twice.
Wow.
By the 3rd time, which was this March, they had increased their safety, security, et cetera, to the point where they couldn't get in that time.
So they tried their luck a third time.
They tried their luck a 3rd time.
Third time was not the charm.
3rd time was not the charm. Okay, what do you guys work for the media? Oh, yeah, do you break over there?
No.
You kidding? We lie. We create news.
I'm a former performer and liar. Go ahead. No.
It mentioned that there's, one of the guns was accidentally discharged and somebody was shot in both feet. Was
Yeah.
that 2 separate shots or was that the same bullet that hit both feet?
Great question. Well, let me go get these people that know the answers to these questions. Hold on. I know a lot. And you got that 5 of the 6 guns were all recovered in D.C. And I know Brad was asking the question. Is Brad still in here?
He's out.
It's a little question about what kind of crimes they were committing. Like, one time they just recovered one of the guns on the person of a juvenile. And another one, they recovered it off a felon during a pat-down. And then one was another search warrant of a home. Multiple juveniles, multiple guns found inside the house, all of D.C. So you don't have, I don't have a string of like, there were these murders, these,
Can you advance it? There was another slide.
that we know of.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
There was some names on it.
Yeah.
Slide. Can you?
Yeah.
I think it's before this.
No, it's after. Oh, no, you're right. No. You need that one? You good?
One just before this.
Wait, what do you need again?
The names.
Oh, the names. That's, oh, right. Dang it. Rich, How do I go back? Oh, I got it. I got it.
I'm watching you go, I ain't going over there.
That's the time, do the actual names.
Oh, the name. Thank you, Dale.
There we go. Jennifer Darling.
Jennifer Donald,
41.
former ABC 7 News.
41.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you have that on a slide? You can email us?
Well, you're not trying to do your work? You're
Nope.
trying to give your graphics
Yeah, I'm
department
trying
any
to
business
retire.
today?
I'm good.
You good? Anybody need anything else from the PowerPoint?
The date slide.
The date slide.
Hold on, Jen. Give me 2 seconds.
How about lunch?
Yeah, no. Hey, y'all buy
That
it.
had to be Bob.